Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to the G Shock Watcher. My name is Matthew Hardman. On today's episode, we are going and doing a Buyee watch hunt, and there's going to be some very interesting things happening around this particular set of watches, because there's some scandal in terms of what's real and what's not, and some of the things that you potentially need to go ahead and look for. So I hope this is an interesting episode for you. If you enjoy what I do here, please consider liking, subscribing, sharing this with other people. I really appreciate your support, your ideas, your comments, your suggestions. It's been a lot of fun. I'm at 9,300 subscribers. It'd be awesome to get to 10,000 just as a milestone. It would be so cool. But again, thank you for sharing your time with me today. Today's watch is the Mudman, the Love to See and Earth Mudman. I know I'm holding it upside down, but very hard to twist my arm in the wrong direction. But I love this watch. Very comfortable watch to wear. Love to See and Earth. Very legible. Very cool color scheme on this particular watch. So that's the weekend driver today. Okay, so on to the watches. I want to talk about some expensive watches on Buyee. Sometimes you look at watches which are in the reasonable price range. Sometimes you look at the expensive watches. Today I'm going to focus on three groups of expensive watches on Buyee. And they're not all MRG watches. Typically, your MRG watches are your most expensive watches. There is one MRG watch at the end we're going to go ahead and actually have a look at, because it's a little bit different to what we've seen recently. But the first couple of watches are not MRG watches. They are watches that are done with designers. And because they're done with designers, the prices of themselves are fairly high. So let's get cracking into some of these watches. And the first one I want to talk about is this one. This is a GWF-1000TM-4JR. This is a Frogman. And let's start off with the price. The buyout price for this watch is $90,500 Sing, or 9.8 million yen. Whew, that is a massive price for a watch. Now, of course, remember, it's really only the price the watch is sold for, right? So if we look at this particular watch right now, there's 0 bids. The current bid is 3 million yen, which is the starting price. So it's $27,720 Sing. Now, the reason why this watch is priced so high, it is a collector's edition. It is a collaboration between Takashi Murakami. And I really hope I am not mispronouncing that particular name. So if anyone does get upset, I apologize in advance. I'm not very good at some of the Japanese names. This particular watch was a Tokyo FM 40th anniversary model, and there are only 300 of these watches actually produced. So it does have some legitimacy. Now, you can have a look here. It's a Frogman. It's kind of got the skeleton sort of see-through casing. It's got a tide graph. It's got an overlay on the LCD. It's a very nice watch. It's very cool. Very unique. Now, is it $90,000? I don't know. But here's where the interesting part gets in. Remember, I said that this watch was limited to 300 pieces, right? If I go over here to Shockbase and have a look, the price that came out was $3,700. Now, we won't go through all of the features, right? Magnetic resistance, it's a dive watch. It has all the different things. If we come down here, came out in November 2010, limited edition, 300 units, right? So there's only 300 of these watches actually here. Now, in fact, what I probably should do, before I talk about the limitation of the watches, the person itself who co-created the watch itself, Takashi Murakami. So he is an artist, and if we have a look at some of the work he's done over his career, if I come down here, this is the man himself. Very sort of cool looking guy. He's done lots of stuff around sculptures, around movies, around paintings, all these different things, and he really likes to embrace a whole lot of pop culture and things like that. And so if you look at some of the artwork he does, it is very varied in terms of what he does. Some very interesting pieces of art. And in this one here, you'll see the sort of flowers and things like that. That will come through in the presentation of this particular G Shock watch. This is his self-portrait and so forth. Lots of very cool things, lots of very cool pop culture. Now, coming back to the watch here, you can see in the box itself, you've actually got some of that artistry coming through. If we go through and have a look at the back of the watch, it has that same sort of flower motif on the back. Now here's where this gets interesting. Right now on Buyee, there are two of these watches that are actually for sale. This one we're looking at right now is $90,000 for a buyout, $27,000 at the current bid. The second watch which is available is the same watch, right? This one is only at the $10,000 bid, and the buyout price is $10,000 as well. So basically they're saying, hey, you know what? I'll sell you this watch for $10,000. Now, as I had a look at these particular watches, particularly the back, there are some differences which you probably need to be aware of. And this is always the risk of secondhand, right? If we look at the second watch, what it does, if we go down to the description, it says here, the serial number of this watch is 01 hash of 300. So it's probably between 10 and 19. That's the number of the actual watch itself. And that is demonstrated on the back plate of this watch down here. So you can sort of see here is the actual number and then of 300. Now what's interesting, if I go back over to this one and have a look, there is no such inscription of the number on the watch. In fact, I had looked at it a number of different times. So it's diver's watch there, repair only, and then there's like a bit of a serial number. So if we go back and have a look here, diver's watch, here's the serial number, but there's no limitation number or no edition number here. So it made me kind of think, which one is the legitimate watch? Is the watch with the actual print of the limited edition number the real one, or is the one without the real one? Now you would think that if it really is a limited edition watch, you'd probably want to be able to indicate what number of the 300 actually is. So I did some digging and diving. If we go through and have a look here, I'll switch over, and we look at this is another one that was actually being sold on watch charts, and I'm not sure where it was actually sold. Rakuten, Japan. Okay, the selling price for this was 800,000 yen, so about $6,000 Sing. Now, if we go through and have a look at the back plate of this, we can clearly see it has a number, 78 of 300. So here's a demonstration of another watch which has this, which might make you question the legitimacy of the very expensive one with no number on the back. More digging into this, if you search for the actual model number of this watch and look at different places, you can pick up apparently the same watch for $58 or $54. And this one has no number on it. Another one here, $48. This one has no number on it. Now, this is the challenge. When you look at some of these watches which are aspirational, they probably are rife for counterfeiting. So you've got to really go ahead and actually do your research. I don't know which one is the right one. I would assume the ones with the numbered of 300 is the legitimate one, because if we go to Shockbase, it literally says it's 300 units only. However, even Shockbase, if you look at the imagery they actually have, they don't have the number on the bottom here. So either they've taken it off, sorry, I should show here. On the Shockbase here, this number doesn't exist either. So either it's been taken off or it doesn't actually exist. So I think you need to be very, very careful of these particular watches. They are limited, they are very, very cool, but some of these particular watches, like this particular one here, is obviously something which could be counterfeit. So be very, very aware which is the right one. I would even sort of say the one with the actual number on here is kind of interesting, because when they put it up here, they actually put the wrong model number in the actual ad itself. The actual model number points to not necessarily this G Shock Frogman. It actually points to one of the Rainbow Toad watches. So interesting. It's an interesting story, I would go ahead and actually say. It's not necessarily, okay, this is legitimately, all these watches are that expensive. This is one which you would have to do more research, make sure you could work out the legitimacy of it. Like I said, I would tend to think the ones with the numbers on it are probably the real ones. Maybe this advert, they put the wrong model number up there, but they do actually have a picture of that one with the number on it. So interesting. G Shock Frogman, limited edition. Just be careful about these ones. Too much stuff going on in terms of scams and things like that. On to the second group of watches. This one will shock you, right? It shocked me. I saw these particular watches, this DW6935 and the DW5635-9. These very plain looking G Shock watches are going for around about 1.1 million yen or $11,000 Sing. The other one is going for also $11,000 Sing. And both the sellers is the same person. Mick, star. Now, when I looked at these particular watches, I'm like, these are just a pink and a yellow watch with no real design, nothing on them. Like, what is the deal with them? And what it turns out is that these ones are limited to 35 pieces worldwide. So there was 35 pieces of this one and 35 pieces of this one. Now, this will be the interesting thing following through what we just talked about, which is the actual number of the watch on the back of it itself to sort of prove that it is a numbered version. If we go through and have a look here and squeeze down, it's hard to see on this particular one, right? This is just, it doesn't necessarily say it's numbered of 35. So 35th anniversary on the back there, a bit hard to go ahead and actually see. Let's check out the other one and have a look at the back plate there. There's nothing here also which goes and tells you that it is a numbered edition of the actual watch, but they do say that there's only 35 of them available. And I went ahead and did some of the research on G Central, and G Central also says that these watches are part of the 35th anniversary collection. So you can actually see in celebration of the 35th anniversary in April 2018, Casio is releasing an ultra-limited pair of G Shock watches in collaboration with Japanese fashion designer and DJ Nigo, creator of a bathing ape line. And so on the back, it's got here, custom engraved case back commemorates the 35th anniversary. It also includes a serial number. So the serial number, so if we have a look, that's the back plate that they've actually got on G Central. If we have a look here, that's the back plate there. But I don't necessarily see a serial number on there. So we see the number here, we see the model number here, but I can't see an actual serial number itself, unless that is the serial number down the bottom, which might have been sort of phased out a little bit. So again, another kind of mystery for these actual watches. These are limited edition watches, but it's hard to actually tell if it is the legitimate watch. It says 35 units only. As we sort of said, the prices here upwards of, let's go back over here, upwards of $11,000. So very, very interesting to see these particular watches. This particular one, and I've unfortunately closed off the other one, this particular one as well. So yeah, again, another interesting watch, very, very expensive on the second-hand market. So we've had a very, very expensive Frogman, which is a little bit questionable which one's legitimate. These ones as well, very ordinary looking watches, but if they really are what they are, they're ultra limited and very expensive as well. The last one, which I would go ahead and actually showcase on this episode, is a MRG. So I said there would be at least one MRG on this particular one. This one was actually also very hard to find information about based on the model number. So when we look at it, it's an MRG 8130G. And if you try to look for this on Shockbase, it doesn't actually exist. Now, it doesn't mean the watch doesn't exist. It means Shockbase doesn't have details of the actual watch itself. But doing a search around, there are people who are going ahead and actually selling it. What's interesting to me is that I see the same watch being sold over and over again in the same place. So this particular person is selling it for about $5,000 Sing. And if I take that model number, and this is also limited, this is 50 pieces worldwide. If we go through and have a look, can we actually see, I can see at the top, the actual inscription of the numbers is 43 of 50. So you'd like to think this is a little bit more legitimate. The reason why I noticed this one was there's a picture here with the tissues in the back. If I go to eBay, I've got the same picture again. And if I go to another eBay seller, I've got the same picture again. So this one is selling it for 6.8 thousand US dollars. This person's selling it for 5.4 US thousand dollars. And this one is selling it for $5,000 Sing. So if you're going to go ahead and actually buy it from Buyee, it's probably going to be a cheaper watch. So what is interesting about this particular watch, apart from the fact I can't find too much information? Well, it's got an 18 karat gold ring around the actual watch itself. So if we go through over here, I'm assuming that this area on the inside is a 18 karat gold ring. And the eBay site, there's a little bit more information about the watch itself. If we go down here, the city code ring is made from 18 carats of yellow gold, which stands out against a black dial, and the engraved city code was colored black. The metal parts of the dial and the three-sided cut, hour, and minute hands are also gold colored, and 18 carats is used for the middle piece of the band. In addition, a recrystallized ruby is used for the push button at the 2 o'clock position to express the intricate color of the armor. Let's see, it's forged titanium case back. It's engraved with a serial number of 50 pieces worldwide and 30th anniversary. So pretty spectacular watch, but the problem is I can't see what the recrystallized ruby actually is. We can certainly see, if we go back here, have a look at the gold ring there. So this is gold here on the hands, gold on the ring. There should be a recrystallized ruby up here at the 2 point, number 2. But we can't necessarily see that. At least we can see the inscription. That looks relatively legit in terms of what they're actually advocating for from that point of view. But really, not much information on that one as well. So that's kind of it. I mean, it was an interesting sort of search. I'm not sort of saying or advocating you should go ahead and actually buy these watches, but maybe you haven't seen these watches before. I had not seen this particular MRG watch before. This is an interesting MRG in terms of when it came out. It was hard to go ahead and actually find. I think it was about 2018. Do we have a date in here? No real date. But $5,000 for an MRG, that price is around about right. I mean, that's what you'd expect to go ahead and actually pay for an MRG, anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. That one probably looks the most legitimate out of all the different watches. That first one, that Frogman, the collaboration with the artist, looks cool. Very high prices, but which one is the legitimate one? I'd love to actually hear from you which one you would take. Is it the one without the serial number, or the one with the, sorry, not the serial number, the limited edition number, or the non-limited edition number? I tend to think the limited edition number is the one you should be going for if you're going to go ahead and actually purchase it. The other two, the yellow and the pink ones, again, 35 pieces limited worldwide, very expensive watches, but again, could they be replicated from that angle as well? Kind of tough. But it was interesting to go and look at some of these watches and see what people are trying to go ahead and actually sell. I will say, please be very, very careful in terms of buying watches online. Buyee's been pretty good for me, especially coming from Japan so far. I mean, most of the watches I've purchased, I haven't purchased anything super expensive. If you are going to buy expensive watches, buy them from a store with legitimacy. Don't go ahead and actually purchase them online. Go look at the watch itself, check it out, go to a proper G Shock watch shop. I like Buyee for some of the sort of mid-range purchases. I won't spend anything more than about $1,000 on a G Shock watch on Buyee. Anything beyond that, I think you've got to take that risk into your own hands. But you do find some of these very, very unique watches that you can't find elsewhere. Anyway, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that was interesting. Again, protect yourself buying online. Go enjoy your watches. And please, as always, like and subscribe. Really appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.